And here we are, 941 Sports Zone, episode 25, quarter century. John, we made it.
We have made it. And guess what? Next week will be a half year. So what do you know about that, right? 26.
That's very true. Very true.
Two celebratory dates.
The 941 Sports Zone brought to you as always by the good folks at Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. Locally owned and nationally backed, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses throughout the Gulf Coast. You can give them a call at 941-251-4257. Again, that number, 941-251-4257. Lots to get to, but John, football for the next 213 days is over.
Yes, indeed.
That's when the first Thursday night game will be. And there's already speculation that it could be an absolute rematch of Super Bowl 60 because Seattle gets to be the host team and New England is a possibility on the schedule. But hopefully it'll be a little closer than the game we saw on Sunday because that game was over from the beginning. New England couldn't block. New England had trouble tackling Kenneth Walker. They made me a loser in the second quarter of my lock of the week, as well as the money I put down of it. 29-13 is the final. That just seems, if I'm a Seattle fan, that seems a little unjust because their domination was way more than that.
Drake May, I think he's got a lot of potential, but this could be a stunt, a growth stunt for him. To get out from under this bad performance that he had on yesterday on Sunday, he's not all to blame. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot more to be said about what New England showed up as, and they showed up as a team that probably didn't belong there at this point. They're not quite ready for it. They beat Houston, who had no offense whatsoever. They played the Denver with their starting quarterback out. And got there, and Seattle was a fully ready, fully prepared football team, and it showed right from the beginning of the game.
No question about it. Walker ended up being the MVP. I voted for him. I did the online voting thing, 27 carries, 135 yards, 2 more catches for 25. And he was the guy who, when Seattle was having trouble scoring, which was basically for the first 3 quarters, they didn't score a touchdown,
right?
But we're ahead 12-0. He was the guy that was controlling the game. And when it was 12-0, it felt like it was 32-0, John, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And heck, at 9-0, I was like, you get over 10. I thought the game was over. Because I thought maybe it could turn to a field goal game. Maybe New England get a play or two downfield and kick a field goal and get it to a 12-3 kind of a game. But no, I mean the Walker. I thought Walker was faster and everybody on the field. I loved his. I've seen him play. I think we both have. We've both seen him play quite a bit. And his style of running is what you see very, very, very often becoming the way to go. He has like James Cook at Buffalo, kind of the style where they pick their spots, hit the hole. They accelerate faster than anybody else on the field, and they're getting 5, 6, 8 yards a pop. I even like the fact that they ran wide on New England, and to hear Mike Vrabel at halftime saying we got to set the edge. I mean, those are some basic things in football that you shouldn't have to worry about setting the edge. That's what that end is supposed to do. So there's some things. I will say this, in complimentary to New England, they overachieved this year with a second year quarterback, new coach. But it lends itself to the idea that this may be why Kansas City was so dominant the last few years. Maybe we're seeing things through AFC colored glasses, looking at what's going on in the AFC. Everybody's well, Baltimore, they're destined to be great, and Buffalo, maybe they're not as good as we think they are. You know what I mean? Maybe the AFC is really not as good as we think they are, because for New England to pop as big as they did this year, and see how the AFC, the North, sort of beats up on each other. Houston with no offense at all for the year, if you want to be general, looking at it, they go on a 10-game winning streak. Denver with a very bland style of play, making sure Bo Nix doesn't make mistakes. And these are the teams that we look at. Mahomes is a different cat. and that's why they were able to win so many times. And in the NFC, boy, they got a lot of good teams in the NFC right now. If you went down the list like I just did now, look at the teams. It is very heavily skewed to the NFC as far as good teams are concerned.
Yeah, well, the number one defense was Seattle.
Yeah,
and yet when they played the Rams the last two times, the Rams scored 64 points and lost both games. All right.
Yeah.
So, Seattle was the complete team. Sam Darnold wasn't great. 19 of 38, 202 and a touchdown, 50%, passer rating was But fact of the matter is he went through the entire playoffs without a turnover, and everybody was waiting for, myself kind of included, was waiting for, seeing Ghost Sam to show up, and all Sam did was manage the game like he should. I know a lot of people have been comparing him to the likes of Joe Flacco, Brad Johnson, okay quarterback that was carried by the rest of his team. And I'm sure as he polishes his ring, he's going to be just fine with that.
No, there's no problem whatsoever. The thing about him too, what I saw yesterday from him was that he didn't lose his composure.
Mm-hmm.
New England put a lot of pressure on him. They hit him hard a few times. There was a couple of throws that he tried to drop some stuff into some really tight windows and got away with it on a couple of occasions. I thought Christian Gonzalez had an interception at the goal line when they were going for their third field goal. I thought it was a terrible throw. But again, that's where the breaks came into play, and he never lost his composure. They all believed in him, which is great. Now we'll see what happens next year, because he goes back to a buzzsaw in that division, because any one of those teams, like they were saying today, and I heard some things on the radio today where they said, man, the Rams are kicking themselves. They win that game, they win a Super Bowl. Well, that could be same thing could be said about Chicago, could be said about the Eagles, it could be about anybody who made the playoffs from the NFC could have said, man, we could have beat the Patriots, and they probably could have.
Right. Drake May ended up 27 for 43 for 295, a couple touchdowns, couple interceptions. That looks great on paper, but fact of the matter is, through three quarters, the Patriots had 72 yards of total offense and 5 first downs. And the first down they got in the third quarter was by penalty. I mean, it just a complete Seattle defensive domination. I know they hit that one drive where they had 2 long plays to get the score, but other than that, again, the line of scrimmage is where this game was won on both sides of the ball. I was a little bit surprised, even though New England, I thought, played well on defense. Certainly they've looked a lot better. Walker getting 135 yards. I'm not sure anybody got 100 yards against them this year from the running back position. And he got a lot of misdirection, kind of like you said, he went to the outside, he'd bounce it. And for some reason yesterday, New England just, like you said, couldn't set the edge. I think that defense, that's the thing that separates them from the 49ers and the Rams. I mean, I don't think there's any question. And they have got to do something, those other two teams and the rest of the NFC, because Seattle's young. They still have the 6th most money to spend, John. That to me says an awful lot. They can kind of retool this thing.
I said New England overachieved. Well, so did Seattle. They definitely overachieved this year based on where they're at with the coaching staff and everything else. There was definitely an overachiever kind of feel to what Seattle put together. So it's going to be interesting to see where they spend their money, how they spend their money. What I did like with Sam Darnold as well was that he was not afraid to not make a play.
Right.
So he didn't, and I think that Drake May fell the other way. You talk about I'm a statistics guy, and you mentioned Drake May's statistics. Totally might be the most overblown stat line I've ever seen in a big game. If that game was 12-0 going into the fourth quarter, he would have had 70 yards passing for the game, because they at some point in time Seattle sort of said, okay, we're comfortable here. Let's just get a little loose with some things. They gave it the quick touchdown to make it 19-7 at that point. But if that game was a knockdown, drag out defensive battle, Drake May would have not broken 100 yards with throwing. He just wouldn't have. They could do whatever they wanted with 4 guys rushing the passer for the most part.
Right.
Patriots were blitzing a lot. I mean, a lot. to get Darnold to kind of get off his mark. I'm looking forward to next year to see. I'm telling you, I'm going to be looking at the NFC. It's going to be really competitive. I see a lot of good teams. Some teams that didn't have great years are going to come back desperate to get back into it, namely the Lions and the Vikings as well. So we'll see how this thing rolls out next year. Looking forward to it, obviously, but it's a long way away.
Yeah, and when you look at the next season, and it's just cyclical in the NFL. There's 3 to 5, sometimes 6 different playoff teams per year. No exception this year. The NFC had a lot of turnover. 2 division winners didn't even make the playoffs, Buccaneers and Lions. It's going to be a lot of fun. 2 teams that were 60-1 to start the season end up making the Super Bowl. And I feel as a gambler, I feel kind of bad for the guy who took it all the way to the end. His $100 was ready to collect $310,000. Problem is, he picked the wrong team to win the game.
Right,
he had the Patriots. And I guess you could look at it from this perspective. He never really had a chance. I mean, if he's really, even when it got to 19-7, and Collinsworth's trying to on the broadcast go, this thing ain't over yet. And I'm going, have you watched the first 3 quarters plus, Chris? This thing's over.
That was that little drive was just sort of an anomaly. The rest of the game was what it was, what everybody saw. If you were let's say a casual once a year for Super Bowl, maybe watch the playoffs with a friend or whatever. If you watched that game, you would have looked at it and said, "Oh my God, the Patriots are terrible. They have no chance in this game." It was that much of an obvious situation. I thought also the wide receiving core for the Patriots did not show
separation
at all.
No separation.
Not at all. Nothing. And it goes back to why some of these guys were sort of left on the trash heap. And this is where they got picked up from, the barefooted receiver and Stephon Diggs. The only time he showed up on the screen was when he wanted to fist fight somebody. So, and that's what he does when he gets frustrated.
Yeah, you're talking about Mac Hollins, the receiver for the Patriots, later the Bills. So Seattle now 2-2 in Super Bowls. New England is 6-6. We talked about this last week. They've been in 1/5 of the Super Bowls, and hard to believe that they're just a 500 team in the Super Bowl. Does that tarnish their image a little bit, John, or not?
No, I don't think so. I think I honestly, a lot going back to last week with the Hall of Fame situation with Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft not getting in, and people trying to explain why and understandably. Look, there's no matter what the situation. If you get there that many times, and I'll say this about the Buffalo Bills, 4 in a row, you didn't win any of them, but that is, I mean, they should erect a statue for them for that. They really should. I mean, it was unbelievable the run that they went on for that to stay that long. So I think the same thing for the Patriots, a 6-6 mark. I think that just by being there, you've done an enormous thing. I know as a fan of the New York Jets. That if they got there, boy, I'd probably be ecstatic to see them there and be on that platform and see what happens. And then at that point, you're playing hopefully the other best team, and it's a great game, and you see what happens. So you just got to understand that that's how it's going to be. You're not whooping up on the division that you came from. You're playing a team that's hot or is prepared, or however you want to put it. In the most important game of the year. And I think that's where you got to tip your cap to the Patriots for the sustained excellence that they've had.
All right. Ancillary stuff. Did you watch the halftime?
I did. I watched every second of it.
Okay. I'm going to need your thoughts because I did not.
Okay. So I will tell you this, that visually, if you had turned the sound off and visually looked at what they put together, I thought it was that the visual side of it was very artistic. It looked very nice. Okay. The colors, you could see what they were trying to do with the storytelling, if you wanted to call it that, in and amongst it. So that I give them positive. I'm being very generous. Okay. By saying that. The rest of it, forget it. Turn the sound on and it was mass confusion. I thought that there was some things that within it that were probably, it got away with some things that, let's say, maybe Mick Jagger might not have got away with. You know what I'm trying to say, as far as some of the dance moves, some of the things, some of the innuendo. It would have been subject to a lot of scrutiny or whatever else it was. I'm not sure the NFL. Again, there's some things with the NFL that what they're trying to do as far as marketing is concerned and whatnot. I just felt like that again. If your market for the Super Bowl is the entire world, I get it, but your core audience, the probably 75% of the people watching it, didn't understand one word that was going on out there, and there's a lot of people who watch one game a year, and it's to see all the pomp and circumstance behind it, and that's what you got. Man, I think there's some sour people about the NFL, and whatever comes of it from a PR perspective, you bought into it, you deserve it, you're going to get what you get.
And then the commercials, and I've noticed the precipitous drop the last several years. I know they went to some AI-driven commercials. Nothing. I mean, the Dunkin' commercial was okay. The Pepsi commercial was not bad. I could see the concept, but overall, if you're spending $8 million on a 30-second spot, meh is the best I can come up with.
Right, and I thought that you're right. I thought the Dunkin' commercial. In that short of a window to do something, everybody got, a half a second. You had to there's Jaleel White, and that, you were trying to piece it together as it's going along, and then, I didn't, then I see like the Friends tie in. I'm not sure what Ben Affleck had to do with that. I get it a little bit. Throw Jennifer Aniston on there. She's going to draw eyes to the prize, so to speak. And so it was like that kind of thing. I will say this, as far as commercials were concerned, overall disappointing. I think one of the things I find disappointing about them is that these very rich startup companies do these like weirdo, like egg-headed sort of comedy, if you want to call it, or whatever it may be. I'm like, no, it's a football game. You're missing the mark. That's wasted money in that particular case. Dunkin' Donuts, they made out okay. They got people to see it. Everybody knows their brand. The two commercials that stood out for me the most, I do like when Budweiser gets nostalgic or gets sort of like that. The eagle with the horse, that was a really cool little concept. How they became friends and whatnot. That was really cool. Story told, story gotten. Americana, wave the flag, the whole deal. And I thought I'm a slapstick guy. I like funny things. I thought Ben Stiller and Benson Boone, I believe it is, if I'm not saying it right, doing that little thing that they set it up nicely before the Super Bowl, and then having the Stiller character try to do flips because he wanted to outdo his younger cohort, and crashing into the ground and everything. I thought that was, I did laugh at that. I did laugh. So those two.
So John, they used to do this in my broadcasting school, and I'm gonna hold you to this, John. What were they selling?
Oh, as far as one was Instacart, and
is that what it was? So you knew okay, yeah. Good on you, because they'd be very happy with you,
right?
Because there are several things that after the commercial, I'm like, what? 5 seconds later, I'm like, wait a minute, what were they selling? What was the commercial? What was the company?
Right. And that's what it was too. As I said, with some of these spots where they're trying to, again, be clever or smart, or like sometimes if you're going to do a commercial at a Super Bowl, then do a super commercial. Don't do some thing you typed up and say, look how smart I'm better than this, but I'm still going to spend $8 million on some Bitcoin commercial. It's like, come on. Why don't you spend the time explaining it to everybody instead of being an asshole and trying to be cute with it? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That means you got a lot of money to do nothing with. That's
correct. Yeah, I mean, stroke me a check for $8 million. You and I, $4 million each.
And with those companies, when they do that kind of stuff, they get, next what happened? Oh, their CEO got caught stealing, or they sold out to somebody bigger, and that kind of thing. It's always the same stuff.
Well, the football season's in the rearview mirror. Super Bowl 61 is back out on the West Coast for the third straight year. It'll be in LA at SoFi. I think ESPN with their coverage was actually testing the equipment out a year ahead. A lot of their stuff was in LA. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't
So,
either.
again,
Who
speaking
knows?
of, what are you doing? And they got this so-called handoff going on that half their talent didn't even know, or they were playing incredibly stupid. What exactly
Right.
that meant. But anyway,
Right.
whatever. All right. So we're done with the Super Bowl. We're done with the football season. Again, the Thursday night that opens the season is 212 days away.
It's a long way. Hey, one other quick football
Yep.
note.
Yep.
Stumbled upon something on Friday night. I came home and I started channel surfing and I looked, and our good friend Trey Burton was on 30 for 30. It was I knew he had done something and he talked about it with us. And so there was a Philly special, 30 for 30, an hour long one. And I will tell you that I know that we're biased and he's our friend and we everything else, but it was really good. It was a really good 30 for 30. Anybody who can get a chance to see it. I know it's on Disney Plus. You can see it whenever you want to. I'm sure it's going to be
ESPN2 is going to need programming all throughout the spring and summer. You'll get to see it.
So really cool setup. I'll leave it as to say that you got to watch it. They had 5 people that were a part of it. It was Doug Peterson, the coach. It was Jason Kelsey, the center on the play. It was Corey Clement, the running back on the play. Nick Foles, and of course Trey Burton. And then afterwards on the Sports Center, what do they call the one with Nicole Briscoe and Michael Eaves? It's at night or
all night,
all
night. Sports Center at night, yeah.
And they interviewed him for about 15 minutes after that about the play, about himself and whatnot. So really cool night. Got to see 2 Venice football highlights embedded in there where they showed Trey throwing a pass to Dree Archer. And one of the ones, another little dump off pass. So got a little Venice High School publicity. I'm sure that they wasn't hard to dig those things up. I'm sure if Trey asked for it, Coach Peacock probably got that thing, those clips out as fast as he possibly could.
Oh, I'm sure he did. He's not only a champion of getting them the opportunity, but celebrating the opportunities.
Absolutely.
And good on him and good on them. All right, 941 Sports Zone presented by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. As always, wonder if the Mighty Dog will make an appearance. 941-251.
I love when he does.
Yeah, another 8 inches of snow for him to run through.
There you go.
And just kill me now, man. When is spring coming? I know spring training starts literally this week for a lot of teams reporting. The trucks are down there. Can't wait for that. They need to start sending some of the weather up here. It's going to take about a month to melt all the snow that we have currently piled up. Our
buddy Dave Lucas, I saw him on Saturday, and he said, "I'm exhausted," which means he's working down at the Brave Stadium.
Yes, he is exhausted. We haven't even reported yet. Come on, Dave.
You're exhausted.
Come on.
But it was funny to see him. He's in full regalia. He was ready to go. He's excited about baseball season. Like down here, you know how it is. Like we're accustomed to baseball starting really early. We see pitchers and catchers, and we got stadiums all over the place around us here. So it's fun. It's a cool deal with especially with Port Charlotte with the Rays and of course the Braves right here in beautiful Welland Park.
Enjoy it this year because it's very likely not to happen in 2027. I guarantee you.
I know
that at the least spring training is going to be gone and who knows how much of the season. So again, 941-251-4257 for Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. All right, the NHL's on their 3-week break, John. They had some games leading up Wednesday and Thursday. They had a full schedule on Wednesday and a few games on Thursday. Before the break came along, the Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers got together up in Tampa.
Yes, they did.
and apparently Florida forgot to come up on the bus because Tampa took them behind the woodshed in more ways than one. They won the game 6-1.
And the fight.
And Brandon Hagel and Matthew Tkachuk got into it, and Tkachuk finished second, just like in the Four Nations. The Lightning, they tried to bully the Lightning like they tried to bully everybody else. Lightning would have none of it, and in addition to that, they just peppered both goaltenders. They had to bring in Bob because the backup goaltender who was the starter ended up getting injured on the fifth goal. But just a tremendous performance. Lightning on the break on a 19-1-1 heater. First place in the division, first place in the conference. But it's a good time for the break. I say all this, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're going to lose their momentum." No, they've got some injuries. They've had some injuries most of the year. Sorelli got hurt, and he's not on. He's not playing in the Olympics. Neither is Braden Point, and I think that's fantastic for Tampa Bay. Those guys need the 3-week break.
Absolutely right, because like I said, and when we were talking about the Panther game last week, we said, I hope it doesn't turn into something silly and stupid. It kind of did, but for the worst side of it was for the Panthers. The Lightning came out looking like the better team, looking like the tougher team. Which again, the Lightning weren't always the toughest team in the NHL.
No, that was their big problem before they started.
They got pushed around. Right, they got pushed around a lot, and so now they're looking like a team that's got this might okay. Be careful what I say, obviously here, but this team as they're growing this year is the team that they're scary going into the playoffs. They really are scary because they always could find a matchup that wasn't right for them. I don't see a team that they match up with that they'd have that they're going to have a problem with. They can skate with anybody they need to skate with. They can throw gloves with anybody else, and they got a number one top of the line goaltender, and those things right there, man. When you got it all going like that, they're looking right. They're looking good.
Yet the trade deadline's not too far after they come back. Everything, by the way, is on embargo right now. You can't make any trades. Wink, wink.
Yeah. No talking.
Not supposed to be talking, right? And then all of a sudden, literally, they'll drop the puck. Hey, wait! Look at these guys! Just made a trade. It's amazing how quickly they got it together. If you're the Lightning, you're looking to fortify, say, the third line, maybe get another tough guy on the fourth line. I mean, it's for once. I mean, even the defense is playing extremely well. Hedman coming back, and he, I almost hope that Sweden's, out in the preliminary round so that he can get a little bit of a break, because I know he wants to play, and quite frankly, he was a little slow in a couple of those games right before the break. Of course, he's got to get his skating legs back, and a lot of people think, well, then, that's what will happen during the Sweden game, but you don't want to see him get dinged up. But really, the Lightning, a tweak here and a tweak there is maybe for the trade deadline.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anything that they really need that's pressing. I did like what you said about the third and fourth line, but to me, you always need a defenseman somewhere. You know what I mean? If you can find a guy that you plug in there, I think it always works out pretty well, because sometimes especially when you got the defenseman, you got two guys and then one guy's gone, and then you're moving another guy up, so it affects two lines, so to speak. You know what I mean? So having a defenseman around that you can kind of plug in there wouldn't be the worst thing, I would say. But like, you're right. Why mess up the room when they're playing as well as they are, and they seem to be complete as far as the makeup of the team is concerned.
Meanwhile, Florida, the two-time defending champs, 3-time defending conference champs, in last place, and they're in a little bit of trouble. You look at it from a numbers standpoint, they're 8 points back. Well, 8 points is 4 games. All right, whatever.
Right.
They have so many teams they've got to jump, John. That 8 points seems like 18 points, and when they come back, they're going to have like 20, 25, 23 games left. That's it. Yeah.
And sometimes, like I said, when you've been on this streak, you lose. You have the will, but you don't have the ass to get through it. You know what I mean? You got to keep going.
You've played almost an extra season's worth of hockey in the last 3 years. And I thought the Lightning had been dealing with that the last couple of years.
And don't think they're looking ahead and saying, all right, so if we get there, who do we play? Like, oh, okay, maybe, not that I'm saying anybody's backing down from a fight, but it's hard to kind of get your will back up to speed when you've played as many games as they've had extra with the playoffs the last 3 years.
And they're not a young team either. They're
that's
veteran
laden.
Yeah.
There's some business decisions made by the older hockey players. You know what I mean?
No question about it. No question about it. Olympic hockey begins on Wednesday, at least on the men's side. Team USA and Canada don't start until Thursday. Canada is going to play Czechia, and the U.S. will play Latvia. Both teams should win their opening games, and a lot of people believe these are the two teams that are going to be left standing for the gold medal, on February 22nd.
Well, I was going to ask you. I mean, it looks like on both the women's side and the men's side of there, that's going to be a USA Canada matchup for gold.
Mhm.
And it's funny. The Olympics always bring out a lot of flag waving and national. You're all about your nation and everything else. And hockey, it's always been everybody wanted to fight the Russians. Hey, the Russians, we got to beat them. But with the temperature of the politics in our country these days, the Canadians in the U.S. are what comes down to putting that could be a really interesting situation. I'm interested to see how that plays out because there's some hard feelings out there between the two countries.
Well, it's interesting because they played that Four Nations tournament last year, and they ended up, playing two tremendous games. The U.S. won the game in the preliminary round, and Canada won the game in overtime to win the Four Nations Cup. Both games were extremely physical,
Right.
and both very contentious. Great goaltending. And you just hope that they get through this. You hope that both teams get through this without any major injuries. But they play these games like they're just another Saturday night game in the NHL. If you're playing a rival, you're going down, and we're going to be physical with you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you can say and I like it. That they're some of the times they're playing against their teammates.
Right.
And you've got to go for it. And that's it. And I think that hockey. Of the four major sports, I think hockey is the one that they don't play around. If they're playing a game, they're playing it. There's nobody letting somebody get a breakaway layup, or there's nobody who's playing flag football, whatever it may be. They definitely when they play their all-star games or when they play these situations, there's no love lost. They go for it. They wear their colors with pride.
And you mentioned the females tournament. There are a couple of games we're recording on Monday. There are a couple of games underway for both the USA and Canada. Both are still undefeated. USA is playing Switzerland, and Canada is playing Czechia. Apparently Czechia all over Canada's schedule. Yeah. These two teams also seem destined. The big difference when you watch the games, and listen, I love hockey as much as the next guy, but you can't hit in the women's game. And say what you want and call me a chauvinist or call me whatever. I just, to me, part of hockey is the physicality.
Absolutely, it is.
And I do enjoy the skill level of both the U.S. and Canada on the female side is tremendous. But I just wish they could. I just wish they could get a little more physical with it. It just would make the game just seems slower.
Yeah, you're right, and it's funny you say that because you wear all the equipment, right? You've got the shoulder pads and everything else. You're all dressed to go, and then
the cage, yeah.
Nothing. Then there's nothing. What are you wearing it for? Just it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I agree with you. They need to let that go and let it get free flowing. It seems like it's way behind the times. If you really ask me about it,
right?
It sounds like this is like something from the 50s, and say, oh no, we can't let girls do this or whatever it may be. So I think it's a little silly. They should let them go and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
The big story the first couple of days of the Olympics was the downhill. That took place on early Sunday. And unfortunately for Team USA, Lindsey Vonn crashed just 13 seconds into her race. Pretty serious accident, had to be airlifted to a hospital and had to have surgery on a broken leg. She's 41. That was probably her last Olympic
that's the end.
Downhill. I hope she's okay otherwise and can get through the rest of life. That was a pretty gnarly looking incident. But for only the second time ever in the downhill, the U.S. got gold. Buzzy Johnson, her teammate, gets the gold in that and gets us started. We have 2 medals so far, both gold. Your thought. I mean, I'm as much of a flag waver as the next person. Yeah. So hey, let's bring out all the medals we can.
So I saw. I should have told you beforehand, but it's Breezy Johnson.
Breezy. Oh, Breezy. Okay.
So
Breezy.
Just in case.
Okay. My apologies, Breezy. I almost said it again because I typed Breezy. Breezy.
So going to that, Breezy Johnson was hurt on that hill and didn't make the Olympics last time. So
Mhm.
she had a little, and they all seem to love this hill that they're coming down. The downhillers do, and so to see her sort of have a triumphant return and go ahead and get the gold for the USA and for herself, that was fantastic. The Lindsey Vonn situation, you know, she was going hard, and she was going on a torn ACL,
Yeah.
with a brace on, and you know everything is a matter of inches.
Mhm.
And she hit that gate, and it turned her sideways. I'm thinking to myself, is that one of the things where she went to push off? She hit it with her right side. She was trying to get it. Maybe her left side wasn't quite right. She overcompensated for something, and it turned her sideways. My concern, once I heard it was a broken leg and they airlifted her out of there, and they put her into surgery, that it was a compound fracture.
Right.
And that's just we've seen it with pros. We've seen it at the high school level at a compound fracture. A lot of times, more so than not, that they become a large problem going down the road because of infections. So I was concerned to see that, but you know, when she was laying there initially, you didn't see any blood, you didn't see anything at all, but you never know.
Right.
So, and again, if it was broken enough that they needed a surgery, that means they put plates in there and everything else. So that was her last hurrah. That was going to be her last run, no matter what. So now it's a matter of getting her right. Take your time, do your therapy, everything else, and go join the announce crew, because you'll be one heck of an announce person, personality plus, good looking woman. She'll be great as far as TV is concerned, if she decides to do that or whatever she decides to do. She's definitely somebody who people want to watch.
Hey, John, do you think we get any Tiger stories?
And listen, why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you? But, you know,
no, I would think no. I think
she's a little. I think if you she's one of those people you look at, she got a twinkle in her eye. She's ready to tell you some things. I think if you're in front of a TV camera long enough, something might drop. You never know. Some little innuendo.
Subtle hints. I'm worried with subtle hints.
You never know.
Yeah.
But I don't think they had I think they were a celebrity couple. I think they had one of those celebrity breakups, like, hey, nice to see you. Thanks for spending time with me. We're good. I'm out. Kind of thing. So, otherwise,
I couldn't help myself.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But the Olympics in general, I mean, Winter Olympics to me are they're sort of overall kind of a cool look to it. I think that the Winter Olympians themselves really are into what they're doing, because they're not going to get the run that you're going to get from in the Olympics for sprinters and Summer Olympics and whatnot. So there's a lot of enthusiasm there. The crowds themselves are very enthusiastic. They appreciate what's going on. Again, the events are unique to things you don't see a lot on TV. So it's pretty cool, and they're on the edge. It's dangerous. Yep. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's fun to watch.
Make sure you get the right broom for curling. That's the important thing right there.
My goodness, I was watching curling the other night, and you can't help but watch it just for at least a moment. The guys with the brooms, the sweepers.
Yes.
They have to work.
Yes.
Trust me. Go grab a broom and go do what they do. Forget about it. That's
grab a broom, and there's a commercial for you. Grab a broom and grab a brew afterwards. There you go.
Exactly.
Because you worked up an appetite.
There's no doubt about it. So again, I'm a big fan of the Winter Olympics. I like watching it. Again, it's good to. And what I do like too is that it actually lends itself to the nighttime condensed version of it. You know what I mean?
Right. They got the perfect. It almost seems like it's like 6 hours ahead, so you can see everything live. But then if you sit down at night and watch the prime time, you get a lot. I think they do. Yep. And how about Tirico? Does the Super Bowl? Then after the Super Bowl, while everybody's celebrating, confetti everywhere, he does an hour and a half of Olympics, and now he's basically got on a plane, and now he's in Italy. I mean,
he'll be in Cortina doing it tonight. Yep. And that's a guy, sometimes you say it can be oversaturated, but Tirico is so professional.
Yes.
He's never been the guy that had the shtick or did something silly. He is a very well prepared guy. Good to listen to. Knows exactly when to be excited about whatever it is. Look, when the NBA games, he was doing the NBA games in between the NFL. He's going to come back from the Olympics. He's going to be on the NBA calls. He is really, really good at what he does. Could do
anything,
any show, you name it. Right. He's done the Today Show. I've seen him do different things. He's that good. And again, he's done it based on being a real sportscaster with a great gift for what he loves, and he does, and he loves it. You can really tell what he does.
You can tell, John, that he prepares. Some guys, they fly in 6 hours before and they do a little preparation, but they got their spotter to help him. He does the homework. And I listened to an interview last week with him and Chris Mad Dog Russo on Sirius. And that's all he kept saying. Even Russo asked him one time, what advice do you have for younger broadcasters? Do your homework. Do your homework, prepare, know what you're going to talk about before they turn the mic on.
Because when you do, it looks like you are, that it was already embedded in you. You know what I mean? Yep. If you know what you're talking about, then you don't have to sort of search out things or look for certain things. That's why catchphrases, to me, the catchphrase guy, if you want to call it that, and I'm not really, they really don't know. They're trying to schlock it up a little bit, and it doesn't come off as genuine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And listen, and sometimes, there's lots of room for guys like Jim Rome. There's lots of rooms for guys like what's the guy on FS1 with the beard and the long hair? Wright.
Oh, Nick Wright. Yeah,
Nick Wright. Mm-hmm. I like him. He's got, his delivery is good. Like if you hear him off his own show, he's a little bit more of a joke around kind of guy, kind of thing.
Listens up. Yep.
Yeah. But there's room for those guys because they can do that, and they do have enough to say as well. They understand the whole deal, and it's an ensemble situation a lot of times for them as well. But the guys like Tirico, he'll be around for a long time because he's that good at what he does.
Absolutely. All right, 941 Sports Zone, episode 25. Do we go XXV? Should we start Roman numeraling them? Like the NFL?
It would take me.
I heard a lot of people are like, get rid of the Roman numerals. I never took Roman numerals. I don't even know what it means. Don't even know what it. Really? You slept through that one, man? Yeah, exactly.
It's not that hard. But
I'll send you a key. I'll send you a key.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, is that 61 or is that, I'd be a little. So yeah, I have to hesitate every once in a while. But I do know Roman numerals. There's no doubt about that.
Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, bringing you the 941 Sports Zone. 941-251-4257 is the number. They are locally owned. They are nationally backed, which means they got plenty of dough behind them, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses up and down the Gulf Coast. If last July I would have said, and you're a golf guy,
right?
If I would have said the name Chris Gotterup last July, be honest, John, you would have said,
who is he? I would have not known anything. He did win at the end of last year. He won the Scottish Open.
Yeah, he beat Rory at the Scottish Open. Showed immediately he had cojones.
Yes, and he's got a game. He can hit it 360 if he needs to. Got a great short game. I thought the week started out, I was like, gosh, he's the kind of guy I might run away with this. But he didn't play well. The Friday and Saturday. Round one, he was 10 under, and then he hung around 10 under, and then back nine is at TPC Scottsdale. Boom, here he comes and puts on a run. And then you thought, well, it was nice, but he's going to finish third. And then things started to happen the opposite direction, which always happens at that tournament, which is why it's so exciting. I'll tell you this, I talk a lot about this tournament, but I want
to stop you before you real quick, because this is the first chance you've had in a while to watch it on TV. Give me your thoughts watching it on television as opposed to being there like the last several years.
So actually, that's exactly where I was headed with this. What I really liked about it. No, listen, you're absolutely, you're finding the points perfectly. You put me a perfect point for me. Listening to Jim Nantz and Trevor Illman and all these different people, right? to listen to them talk about the broadcast and the start of every broadcast, how they're talking about it. They can't talk. I can't talk it up as much as they do. How great it is. It's not just about the 400,000 that could possibly be there. Or like Saturday, let's say it's 200,000, 150,000 people there, right? It is about that in a lot of ways, and the fun and all the different stuff. But they talk about this tournament in the manner they revere it. The way the course is set up, the holes are just and they're dynamic. And they have you have chances to make eagles and everything else, and everybody's in it that's with 10 strokes of the lead in the last day. That's part of it. That's where it got raucous. It wasn't just like, hey, so let's throw a bunch of crazy people in there and start throwing beer cans around. The tournament itself led to that, like, oh my God moment. And then you watch it on TV and you say, yep, watch this. Yep, watch that. When I watched it on TV, I was like, see this shot? This is a hard shot. They're not giving you enough on how hard this shot is. And then to see a guy execute it or not there or something, it's fantastic. The end yesterday with Matsuyama hitting the ball into the church pews off the tee on the.
Did he hit a fairway all week? The fact that he was in the position he was, he couldn't hit a fairway. He looked like me driving off the damn tee.
And then he kind of sculls the shot out of the church pews and gets a bogey out of it, because it was not a hard bunker shot for a professional. It was not a big deal. Right. He had a flat lie and he had everything else. But to watch all that, because you forget, you see that big lake they got to hit over, right? And they're taking on the carry is 300 to the right of the church pews, and you don't think about them. The church pews were always in play for years until the technology sort of took him out, and he knocks it in the church pews. Like, oh yeah, that's a perfect spot. That's why those were there from the beginning.
Yep.
So from my perspective, it was very fun to watch 4 days of Phoenix Open. I really enjoyed it. I will tell you that like I knew was going to happen, because the weather was fantastic and everybody's watching it. All my friends are saying like, oh, we got it. We should have went. We should have went. Yeah, invitation was put out there. Y'all said, well, we're not going to go this year. There'll be a lot of people back next year for sure. And just like I said, if you watch the tournament, if you watched it with me, I would tell you, you can get a good burger right there, cocktails over there, bathrooms over there, that kind of thing. And you see a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, and it's not just 16, because 16 is awesome. It is really cool, but you don't want to sit in the same spot for 7 hours a day. It's not something.
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to mention something I was really surprised by. After Goddard played 16, they did the drone view when Matsuyama, it was, where was everybody? I guess everybody was on 17 and 18, but I was like, they're all gone. Everybody left. I was stunned.
So Sunday, which I always go on Sunday as well. Sunday morning, they're all it's crowded. It's probably the least the amount of people in the week as on Sunday. But they'll get behind, they'll follow somebody, and you're like, I'm sure Scotty's, because Scotty got on a roll. Scotty's like a vacuum. Boom. They all wanted to follow Scotty, and Scotty sucked them out of there. And the other part of it is this. So it's Super Bowl Sunday. So what happens is everybody looks and says, when are we going to start going towards the back nine? Okay. Yeah. And you say, okay, when are we going to do? So they start to walk. Okay. And then the people at 16 are like, okay, we saw Scotty. We've been here for 5 hours. Let's start walking. We'll follow him in and go out to the parking lot. So that's what happens. They all start to peel off. The big guys suck them out of there. If you really were like a diehard, that's what you do. You wait till Scotty goes by, then you sneak in, and you can watch something.
Get a great shot. Yeah, great.
Right, yeah. Right. So that's what you can do. So that's what I mean. Don't think that there's not opportunities to be in 16 right when you want to be. And I like 16 because on Fridays, especially because guys are trying to make the cut, and they got shots, and they're getting screamed at and yelled at about everything. So
didn't they boo Scotty's shot?
They do.
They booed Scotty's shot. I was like, oh, you guys are amazing.
They boo everybody. They do not care a damn bit about it. They'll boo everybody. But again, that's why to me, as a golf guy, it is about the crowds. It is about the everything that goes along with that, with the pomp and circumstance. But it's still the venue itself is awesome. You can go to so many spots to see really good golf, and that's not always the case when you go to some golf courses. I've been to a lot of golf tournaments, and I'm like, it's okay. You gotta get ahead of somebody to see them play in, and that where there you can be all over the place. Hey, you know what? Let's watch him. He's hitting his second shot on 15. Let's get over on this hill. We can watch him from behind as opposed to watching it from next to him or stuff like that. So there's a lot of spots you can get a lot of good views, and that's what a TPC course will do for you. To me, and I'll end it with this: the TPC, the Tournament Players Championship in Jacksonville. Why is it it's the same theater? It's 17, it's 18. People can watch it. You can watch 3 holes when you're on 16 and watch 17. There's great holes all over the place, but the actual golf course lends itself to spectator sports, and that's what happened with those TPC courses, especially those 2 in particular. Man, you could be walking on the cart path and you can look over and like, oh, stay right here. We can watch these guys play this hole from the cart path. You don't get that option in a lot of cases.
I'm going to go back to Goddard because, again, I'm going to talk about the fact that he kind of made a name for himself when he beat Rory head-to-head, final round in Rory's backyard. And then Thursday and Friday, he's paired with Scotty Scheffler. Thursday, he blows his doors off, okay? He plays tremendous. Friday, like you said, Friday and Saturday was kind of a little low. But you play with Scheffler, you play McIlroy. There's nothing that bothers this kid.
Nope. He's going to be a player. He's going to be, I will tell you this, he's going to be a chic guy in the tournament, in the majors to pick. Because of his length off the tee, there's a lot of times you say, well, how many guys can win this? And they'll say realistically 20 because this guy can bomb it off the tee. He's going to have wedges in his hand. Okay. Right. That's how it works. And so he's going to be that guy that people are going to say, okay, we got to start looking at him as an option. Because, every year or two, you see how, or I should say every year, 2 or 3 guys make a run, young guys. And you say, okay, when's it going to fall apart, whatever. And then they don't. And then they become the next Patrick Reed or Bryson DeChambeau or anybody else that, has gone to live and now they're taking their spot. You know what I mean? That's what happens.
So Goddard's got 4 wins, 3 in the last literally 8 months. He's got 2 this year. He leads in the FedEx Cup points. He's going to be around. I think it's great. And you just mentioned, nice segue. Patrick Reed again wins on the DP Tour. He's got 2 wins and a playoff loss. He's like 2-1 if you want to go hockey there. He is on fire. They basically said he's already earned his card for next year. Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine who's football coach up in North Florida, and he's been texting me a lot about golf, doing different things. We go fishing together once a year, and he said, I am betting Patrick Reed every week for the rest of the year. And I said, my response back was, he's going to have double-digit wins. Yeah. He's that guy. And I look at this, and again, I'm an anti-live guy, right?
Yep, absolutely.
He ejects from live. Okay, no matter how good he is right now, the fact of the matter is, I should say, whatever he did at live, now it's going to be like, see the competition. You needed the competition to get your stuff in gear. It's not just a fun round with your boys on the Saturday and your shorts and your rock music playing in the background. Now it's something that you can go out there and you can dominate, or because you're competitive. He's going to be now. There's another chic pick in the majors. If you could do a Quinella, or whatever, you might take Reed and Goddard up in that and see what you could do, because boy, they're going to be coming in super blazing hot when it comes to Masters time.
Yeah, you got really, I look at it as 5 majors, because I look at the players as basically a major.
Agreed.
That and a lot of people who went to live and who talk about it say you don't get to play the players, and a lot of people are they miss playing that. That could be the saltiest field of them all.
It's the best field by far.
Right.
It is the best field. It's all the top. Every top player on the tour is there. So that's why it's the best. That's why it's so good. Everybody is there. The Masters is not everybody there. You know what I mean? U.S.
Right.
Open was qualifiers and whatnot. It's a big field. The Open Championship, whatever PGA Championship as well is not everybody's not always there. So that's the one where everybody's at, and that's why it lends itself to that. And again, the theater surrounding it is fantastic. It really
and
is.
the purse. Let's not ignore the fact that what is it up to 25 million now?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely make it worth the while to take the trip to North Florida. All right, let's bring in college basketball, John.
It's time.
We talked about it. We're now into almost mid-February. We're recording this on the 9th, so the smaller conferences have about 2.5 weeks left before they start their conference tournaments, and the bigger conferences are starting to separate things. There are only two unbeatens left in college basketball in Division I right now. Top-ranked Arizona and number 23 Miami of Ohio. Yeah, Miami of Ohio, undefeated.
And number 23.
And everybody's like, everybody's like, oh well, but it's Miami of Ohio on the schedule they play. I'll kind of use the Patriots as an example. You can only play who's in front of you.
Right.
Win 24 games in a row. Come on, do it.
That's
do it.
Right.
And Miami's doing it. And actually, they've started to open things up. They won their last game by more than 20. They were like a 2.5 point favorite. So they're starting to play better. Arizona's got a little bit of an issue tonight, Monday, as we record. They're heading to the fog. And Kansas, a couple of weeks ago, when they were motivated against Iowa State, kicked the shit out of them.
And guess what?
Quite a game.
Kansas is making they're getting their act together quickly,
yes.
Very quick, and they have athletes and yeah, you're 100% right. I'll leave it at that because there might be something else I might want to talk about this game a little later. So we'll see about that.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. But no, I think college basketball right now, they're starting to talk about teams that have realistic chances of winning the championship. And about 3 of them all took an L. And so you never know what's going to happen. And that's what makes college basketball so great. Once you think you've got it figured out, you don't. Yep. The definites in college basketball fall upon good guard play and free throw shooting in a lot of cases. And sometimes those athletic teams that can run you off the court, they get into a team that can run with them. And the next thing you know, they're like, I can't do this, and it gets a little bit tough on them. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting how the next month plays out.
No question. And I am a guy who is always, I do my homework, give me senior guards. I don't care where you are. I don't care what line you're at. You're going to make a run because senior guards mean something in this. And the fact that Duke got to, I think, was it the Final Four last year with all those kids with Cooper Flagg and everything?
Yes.
That to me was an amazing run because I thought they were, they might have got to the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite 8. And the fact they got to the Final Four was an amazing run. But you're right, John. Michigan got through the week okay as the number 2 team, but UConn lost at St. John's. I don't know if you watched any part of that game Friday night. The Garden was rocking.
And I love it. Rick Pitino, right?
Yep.
Who else? He was born to be at St. John's. He's that. I mean, I know he was at Providence and he's all over the place.
Iona.
But St. John's, that guy should have been at St. John's for a long time. He should have had a 30-year career. He should have followed Lou Hunter-Secca and would have been fantastic. But you're right. There's going to be some teams coming out that are going to be you don't want to see, and those 4, 5, 12 matchups. There are going to be some ones that you don't want to see anybody. 6, 11s. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. There's some teams that are really coming into form right now. It's going to be fun to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, UConn, St. John's. The thing I love about that, first of all, the Big East tournament's still there every year, and if they ever move it, they should just dissolve the Big East. Right. But UConn has plenty of fans that travel to that game, so it's not 100% St. John's. That place is nuts, and I really enjoyed watching the game the other night. And it's interesting. Teams grow. St. John's is ranked 22nd. As we record, the top 25 hasn't come out yet.
Right.
They're probably going to be in the top 20. They played a murderous schedule early and got beat a lot. I think they have 4 losses. But the fact of the matter is they're getting together at the right time. playing
You're
well in the Big
100%
East.
right.
You know, just it's fun to watch the games at the cathedrals, and I consider Madison Square Garden a cathedral of college basketball. I just think
Absolutely.
it's fantastic when you have two teams that are that good, and there are not very many really quote unquote good teams in the Big East. These are by far two of the best, in my opinion.
Right. You're 100% right. And you're right. And the Garden, like I said, if you ever, like, I'll talk about 30 for 30s, how the Big East was formed and how they did everything else. And
Yes.
And it goes back further than the forming of the Big East. Big games and big college games at the Garden were there for years. Yep. So yeah, it is fun to watch, and it's you know, college football is a huge entity in itself, but college basketball, you know, they figured out that tournament and did the right things, and probably the best thing the NCAA ever did was make that tournament 64 teams and promote the Final Four and everything else. It just, and I know Larry Bird and Magic Johnson had a lot to do with that way back in the day, but they have not done it wrong all the way through. They didn't mess it up.
They're threatening to, John, if they
I
start.
know they are.
They're talking 96. That, to me, that's too many.
Well, it's the same thing as saying 24 in that college football thing. It's stupid. They don't even play. Just line up and have a tournament. You know, it's dumb. It's stupid stuff like that. And that's just greed. That's just absolute greed.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Another tremendous game at a basketball cathedral, which apparently has already lost its luster. They want to build a new Dean Dome in North Carolina. What the hell? North Carolina and Duke, another great renewal of their rivalry. Duke led most of the way. Carolina comes back. Seth Trimble hits a three. They thought it was with time running out, but they put 4/10 back up. So you had not one, but two storming of the court. And unfortunately, some of the fans couldn't contain themselves. A couple of John Shire's staff got punched in the face.
Yeah.
The AD apologized. $50,000 fine. $50,000. North Carolina can find that under they go to Bill and say, Bill, write me a check for $50,000. All right.
One of the players can make the cut the check.
Right. That's good. Back in the day, that would be like, oh, you can't say that now.
You can. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Just an unbelievable atmosphere. Why does North Carolina have to storm the court if they beat Duke? They're supposed to be on the same level. Isn't it when you pull the great upset?
So I think that storming the court should never be part of any of these pedigree teams.
Now you're
I get it if you pick any team that's maybe a mid-major and you go out and you beat somebody. Yeah, that's something to be said about that. But this storming the court, the whole thing is just, it's stupid. And don't tell me that you don't know you can't stop it, because you can. Right. It's very easy to stop.
It's a lot easier than football.
And this year, you're seeing it all year. It's the storm the court scenario. There is bound to be a broken leg, something bad happened to a player. You get trampled.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Or a coach's wife, or something along those lines. Something stupid's going to happen, and that's when they're going to fix it. And this is when you say about the NCAA, when you get mad about it, you say, if you storm the court, you lose something, not a fine or something.
Because they print money right now, $50K is nothing.
You don't get to go to the conference tournament. You know, it's something along those lines. You know what I mean? Right. If it's a big school like North Carolina, oh, okay, whatever. We don't get to go. We're still going to get in the big dance, okay? But it's got to be something that has some meat to it, because writing a check is nothing. It's zero. It's the easiest thing you could possibly do. Just think about this: if you got pulled over, or you got in a car wreck and you hurt somebody, and there was charges against you. Say, well, how much is the fine? Well, I'll write the check right now. You write it's stupid. They're just not allowing for any common sense in the situation, and someone's going to get hurt. It's guaranteed.
And fifth-ranked Illinois also didn't get through the week. They lost at number 10 Michigan State. There's a team that always goes far on my bracket.
Michigan State.
Tom Izzo gets his team ready, and they lost to Minnesota earlier in the week, and he got on his star player pretty good, and everybody was like, "Oh, you can't talk about him or talk to him like that." What did he do against Illinois? He was the
Right.
man. The
Right.
man. He took it to heart. Don't tell Tom Izzo. I don't care that he's 70 years old. He knows how to get into his kids' heads. He knows how to push the buttons.
Izzo's always got a great point guard. Always seemed like
Yep.
they got some great sophomore point guard, and those guys rebound the basketball and play defense.
Yep.
They there's things you can do on a basketball court, okay, that don't require you to be able to jump over the top of the backboard.
Right.
And boxing out, hitting free throws, not having turnovers has so much to do with that. You know, a dunk is only worth 2 points. A
Right.
dunk that you put between your legs and throw it over your head and bounce off the backboard is still only worth 2 points.
Correct.
Okay. It's other parts of the game. And that's why Tom Izzo, he's getting great athletes and telling them, look, I'm not going to stop you from giving me some 360 dunk on a breakaway. I'm okay with it. Make sure you make it, but I'm going to get up your ass if you go ahead and you start getting lazy on defense and grabbing
Yep.
and clutching and doing stuff like not going to happen. And if you're my point guard and you're going to be sloppy with the ball, the next guy up, we're not playing that game. So that's what I think about how it really, really should play out.
All right, it's gonna be a fun next couple of months in college basketball, and of course, the thing I love about this, it leads right into the Masters. You
Right.
play the Monday night. Jim Nance gets on the plane, heads to Athens Thursday.
Off.
We're
Off
playing
we go.
golf,
Yep.
and actually,
Yep.
Jim Nance doesn't even do it anymore. It's Iron Eagle now. I forgot. Jim's a couple of
Oh,
years.
right.
He's been out of it a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
He got out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, all right. A couple more things before we get on out of here and we do our what's bugging me's lock of the week. I already had referenced it earlier. Yeah, I was so sure Kenneth Walker would finish up under 72 and a half yards rushing for the game that I threw a couple more shekels on it. Yeah. Yeah, my account's hurting a little bit. He had it by the second quarter. So he certainly did that, and so that dropped me to 11-9. Meanwhile, you had Seattle. You knew Seattle, and you're like everyone else. I mean, John, it's amazing for all the betting that goes on in this. That line never moved.
Yeah.
It stayed at 4.5, 45.5, right till that's amazing to me.
Those guys in Vegas are geniuses.
Yeah, they don't build those buildings.
They're the guy. They should get they if you're the guy who's doing the lines at Caesars or whatever else it is, they should get paid on commission. If they did, they'd be billionaires.
Yeah,
billionaires.
Yep.
And I get it that you know you make a couple of wrong guesses, you're out of a job. But when they, I'm sure there's some guy that's probably been 30 years doing the same thing. He right on the number. He knows the right where to put the number, and guy's worth his weight in gold. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so that
I also had something last week too. I did say that Scotty was going to be top 5. I mentioned that that was on my notes from last week. So definitely, I saw Scotty. That was my toe dip in regards.
That's right.
So I'm going to I toe dip a little bit on
get
golf.
it.
Yeah,
And it looked for a while like you weren't going to, and then Scotty just became Scotty.
I said it was so funny. I said on Sunday, I go, he's going to get to 2, and then it's a matter of how many guys get to 2 with him, and that's how he could go to 5. And he got to 2, and I'm like, done. He's going to be he's top 5. But it's a little practice for me getting ready to start making some picks, locks of the week in golf to see if I can see if I can get the feel of the field. So
is that where you're going to be going then as we move forward?
Not today.
Well, not today. I mean,
I like picking golf. I like to do that once in a while, get into different stuff, that are just, they're more, it's not, you're not going to pick the winner every week. That's just hard to do.
Right.
Majors, I like to pick in the majors, but certain things you might throw out there that are interesting to see guys who are going to be, who might be good at a certain course, and you kind of do that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that works out.
All right. I got to be honest with you. I didn't do much homework on lock of the week.
Well, I'll go first if you want me to. I can.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So lock of the week, I mentioned earlier, Arizona, Kansas.
Yes, tonight.
I was looking at Florida and Kentucky, but I don't think Kentucky is as good, and it's at Florida. I want to have a game that's a little bit more, I'm not saying Florida's going to win Kentucky over, but Arizona's got to lose a game, and this is the one that's going to happen. I'm taking Kansas over Arizona.
I think you're getting points too, John.
Yeah, like I said, I think Arizona. I think Arizona is very good. I saw them game 1 against Florida. They're a solid basketball team. They play very fundamental basketball. They got a bunch of guys down low that can make it harder on you, and then guys who can shoot. They're a complete team. But I just think going into Fog Allen and having Kansas being on a roll like they are right now, I think it's a big deal. Bill Self's been a little bit under the weather with some health issues. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe there's some whispers that this is going to be Bill Self's last year, and who knows? I could be wrong, but I'm looking at Kansas, one of those teams like, you know what? They're sneaking up on people, and if they put a W on Arizona, they're going to be a team to watch in the tournament. So I'm going to take Kansas over Arizona.
By the way, I just saw the new poll. Kansas is up to number 9 now.
Okay, they're climbing.
They're climbing, definitely. Yep. I'm going to go to a game on Tuesday night.
Okay.
I did look at this preliminarily. Everybody was all gung-ho about Nebraska, and they had a couple of games that kind of brought them down to earth. Fact of the matter is they've really started playing the meat of the Big Ten, and they have a big-time home game tomorrow night. They're currently ranked 7th, taking on a Purdue team, which has really been up and down this year. For Purdue to be ranked 13th, I can't remember the last time Purdue was ranked out of the top 10. It's been a long time.
Well,
and I think they're going to get back into the top 10. I think they go to Lincoln tomorrow night. They're getting a point and a half. I think they went outright. I think Purdue beats Nebraska tomorrow night. I think they have to make some sort of statement. You don't want to be a 4 right now where they're ranked. If the committee went with that, they're going to be like a 4 or a 5,
right?
Which makes them dangerous for one game, or they could face another team's conference championship and be bounced early, which is not something that Matt Painter hasn't seen in the past. So I'm going to say Purdue over Nebraska. Go ahead, John.
And I will say this: that's going to be a guard play game too. Again,
yep.
I am not a fan. Is it Braden Smith that's the point guard for Purdue?
Yes.
I think that he is very sloppy with the ball. I think he I don't know if there's something. He always seems to get down too deep in the paint with the ball, gets sort of stuck in there. I know he's an All-American type guy. I know that people think very highly of him, but I don't like the way his game. I've watched Purdue over the past couple of years and thinking, man, they were all set up. And I watched him play games against equal talent and not show up and make a difference. So, but interesting. If he plays his game right, if he plays well, I think everything goes through him in this year for Purdue. If he starts to get hot at the point guard, they have the guys down low that can play. There's no doubt about it.
I agree with you. All right, so you're 13-7. I'm 11-9. Keeping me at arm's length there, John.
We'll see. This is good. I like a little college basketball mano a mano here. I like that.
Yeah. All right. Final segment. What's bugging me? I'm good. Going first or second? I don't care.
Go first. That way I can't steal it from you.
Well, mine's going to be have a little recency bias.
Okay.
I watched a lot of college basketball over the weekend because now football's basically in the rearview mirror. We had the one game, and I really like to watch February and early March to kind of get an idea of how I'm going to fill out my brackets. There was a major upset last week. Major. Portland beat Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
Portland was a 22.5-point underdog at home. It had been so long since they didn't know how to storm the court. There was like 12 people out there jumping up and down, and then they're looking around and like, where's everybody else? And I actually had no problem with that. What I had a problem with was happened on Saturday at North Carolina.
Right.
And court storming in general. Like I said, UCF stormed the court earlier this year when they beat Kansas. I mean, yeah, I think that's what you were looking at when you were saying they're not a mid-major, but they're middle of the pack Big 12, and they knock off Kansas for a second straight year at home.
Right.
So, they storm the court, but they know how to storm the court. But really, it's not knowing how or not knowing how. It's just don't do it. I mean, like you said, if they didn't want you to storm the court, they could make the penalty so severe that the basketball team would surround the court and make sure you didn't storm the court.
Right.
I just think something, and it was bound to happen. It sucks that it happened in the Duke Carolina game because these two teams, even though they're 8 miles apart, and even though they really don't like each other and they don't like the same color of blue, they have respect for each other on the
Yeah.
court. You could tell
Yeah.
by the way they play.
Absolutely.
All right, that's a fierce, good rivalry.
I
The
agree.
fact that the fans had to ruin the rivalry by punching staffers in the face. Come on. Are you serious? I mean, and where are the felony charges? I mean, that's a felony. That's
That
a
guy-
felony.
I'm sure there's tape of it, film of it.
Yes.
That guy's easy to find. Somebody will call him out, put him in jail. Whatever has to happen, do it, and then everybody says, go back to the same thing and say, if North Carolina storms the court again, they're not playing in the tournament, or they're not playing not the NCAA but in the conference tournament, or something along those lines,
which will hurt their seeding, no question about it.
Or here's a better yet: you get to play Duke twice at Cameron Indoor next year. You don't get a home game against Duke.
That's not a bad idea.
Play them at the beginning, at the
Except
end.
Except
you
the
lost
game
your
would
right.
be. Yep.
You
No,
lost your rights.
I'm with you. You got to do something because again, it's too damn dangerous. It's a 94-foot court. You put like 5,000 people on it. Obviously, something's going to happen.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. You're down.
Right.
No doubt.
I'm done.
All right, for me, Rich, I'm going to go back to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to kind of get a little deeper into what I thought about how disappointing the Super Bowl was. Okay,
Right.
The game itself, disappointing. It was. If you expected more, a football purist, we both are probably football purists. I was fine with the defenses. Defenses, that's great, but it looked like to me, it looked like New England wasn't ready to be in that position. They probably didn't. They kind of got there. It fell into them, and everything. Drake May wasn't ready. Mike Vrabel wasn't ready. There was nobody who was quite ready for the Patriots, and the game turned into a real. I mean, Seattle. I think Seattle saw the tea leaves quickly and said, "We ain't got to do much. Let's not fall into these traps. Let's not make mistakes." And Sam Darnold was mature enough, being 9 years in the league now. And what is he like? I think he's still like 26 years old. So he did the right thing. So the game itself was disappointing. If you were a football person, watch one game a year, that puts you off for a long time. Mm-hmm. Secondarily, I thought that the halftime show was disappointing. Okay. And I'm going to carry it over a little further to this. The NFL in particular has made a point to try to market themselves to all over the world. Okay. And you have a situation where they've already made some inroads in Europe. They're definitely making some inroads in South America. So you're trying to appeal to a market that you think you're going to get something out of it. But look, you're never going to be soccer to the Hispanic community.
Right.
Soccer and baseball rule the world. They might like to look at it as an anomaly, but for you to give a platform to a situation where Bad Bunny, and there's nothing wrong with Bad Bunny. He's a pro wrestler too. He wrestles. He's an athlete himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for that to be put out there, the way it was put out there, the messaging in some ways regarding there was a messaging that put together that there was about the power not going back on in Puerto Rico, that they
right.
different stuff like that, and that it wasn't the number on his jersey wasn't it was meant to be about. They said that only 64 people died in the hurricane because of the lack of electricity when 3,000 died. All these things that you had to find out to find out what in the world this was all about, because you didn't understand a word that was being said or sung. Makes it for saying that what is the Super Bowl turned into? It's not even the game. The game sucked. Okay. And then you package it in this sort of political sort of marketing deal. You're marketing to 90% of your base didn't get marketed to. I'm watching the Super Bowl every year. If you might get one person from Brazil to watch it one time because Bad Bunny's on there, what are we doing? It's ridiculous. Okay. Yeah. And Roger Goodell, I know he's a money-making machine. He's putting money in every NFL's guy's pocket, everything else. If I was a part of that production, if I was NBC and I said I paid billions how much for the Super Bowl, I'd say, guess what? That sucked. That's not a product that I got people that are going to turn away. I'm losing the housewife. I'm losing. I heard from people all day today because I work in mobile home parks, and I'm not saying that's the football base. They all turned the game off before halftime because the game sucked, and they didn't want to watch some statement to be made about what was made. It had nothing to do with football, nothing. And then you have to then what I didn't like either is that there's this counter programming we can have flag waving being done on the other side of it. I'm okay if you want to do counter programming, but don't do it because you're trying to sort of knock out the Hispanic guy. You know what I mean? Did you do it because you wanted to have a separate deal, or did you do it because it didn't fit the profile of who should be on your TV screen? That's racist in some ways, and I'm not that guy to say that, like that. Now we're having counter programming because you're both working different sides. What are we doing here? I get enough of that shit on the news every night. I'm here to watch the biggest football game of the year, and I have counter programming, I have messaging, I have marketing to some other world. It makes no sense. Get back to basics. Have a damn Super Bowl. The game can't be great, but the product can. Okay, enough is enough with this stuff. Don't turn the biggest TV show of the year into a farce. Okay, we talked about the commercials sucking. Of course they sucked because who do you got? You don't have cheat. Where was Doritos? Where was everybody else? Right? Where's all the regular things that?
Well, they've spent the money and they said it's not worth it.
Right. So what are you getting? Some numbnuts egghead spends 6 minutes on his computer and types something in there and pays $8 million to put it in there. I don't even know who he is. I could care less. It's stupid. It's stupid. So now you have people saying the commercials suck, the games suck, the halftime show. I don't understand that with the idea. It sucked too. What are we doing with this stuff? It makes no sense. You turn an easily great thing, money making deal for everybody, and you turned it into another bunch of reality TV bullshit. I think it's ridiculous, and they need to figure it out because they don't want to start losing people. I've had my text threads. I got 18 in one of them, 20 in another one, whoever it may be. Half of them said, "I won't watch it next year." Okay,
I didn't
make a big dent.
Listen,
it happened.
Yeah, I heard what it was gonna. I just didn't watch. I had 32 minutes to do what I needed to do. Use the restroom, make another sandwich, throw some more stuff on. I know I'm in the minority. I don't care. I don't.
No, but
I don't care about the messaging. I don't care about any of that. By the way, if you're going to do this in America, how about some subtitles for Christ's sake?
Right. Here's the thing, because that's what the idea.
Get your message across.
You were being forced to say that's exactly what it could have been done. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to force this thing down your throat.
So they didn't get any messaging through.
They got nothing done. And the idea is that, like I said, you walked away. I was disappointed. Everything else. That's the guy digesting your product. Yep. We are your base. So we're not the minority. Okay. We're the majority in this situation because we're looking at it saying like, wait a second, this is the culmination of everything I put myself into watching these games. And this is the presentation behind it. You're not the minority. You're the majority. And what's going to happen is they're going to turn around and say, what were the ratings like? I want to hear this. I mean, maybe they're out already. What was the ratings like? First quarter, second quarter, halftime? Because if they suck, they're going to come out like a whisper.
Right.
Because they don't want to admit that they made a mistake or they did all this stuff. Look, I just think in general, again, I told you, like I said before, visually it was very attractive. It looked a certain way because I didn't have the sound on for the most part of it, whatever it may be. But it looked a certain way. If that's what you were looking for, you're doing it in the wrong situation, man. Right. Do it for the Pro Bowl. Let the Pro Bowl have the big thing, and you can show, the flag.
Is there even going to be one next year? That's the other
thing. Got
thing.
ruined too, right? So who knows?
That's just turned into whatever. No,
right.
that's
that was
great.
Bugging me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, bugging me too. And like I said, I just chose not to watch.
Right.
And if you're gonna sling arrows at me for that, whatever. I can
Look,
care less. Yeah.
But listen, remember when the phrase "jump the shark" came from?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Fonzie jumped the shark. Happy Days after that
Right.
point.
Oh,
Happy Days
yeah.
stupid, right?
Yep.
Do you feel like a little bit of a jump the shark moment here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a TV show, right? A football is a TV show.
Correct.
Now it's not. So guess what's going to happen now? I'm turning off the Super Bowl. I'm not even going to watch halftime anymore.
Right.
Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference.
No. Gives me a 30-minute break. I'm glad it's not 12 or 13 because it's 13 minutes in the regular season. And it was, I think, last night, I think it ended up being like 37,
32.
38.
Yeah.
Well, by the time then NBC, you had to get everything off the field and everything else. It turned out to be, over 35 minutes of non-play. So,
and the analysts at halftime, Maria Taylor and the group that they had there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all got one sentence to say. That was the breakdown of the first half.
Round the table. Here we go.
Yeah.
It sucked. It sucked.
Oh, we got to talk about her. See ya. That was what it was. I'm like,
all right. Well, we did it again, John. Another edition. On the same amount of time. Every time I look at it, I go, all right, we're going to get closer to an hour this time. Yeah, no.
No, it's impossible. I think the part of it is that we both come at our bugging me with a little more passion than maybe when I'm writing it down, I'm like, well, I could get something out of that. Then I start talking and I'm like, no, this really does piss me off.
Yeah, exactly. Next week, no football. Football will not be on the top line unless something like, I don't know, Kirk Cousins gets released because it sounds like the Falcons are going to. So we got a few. This is a podcast.
Right.
The Falcons have come out and said in the last 48 hours, we're not sure if Michael Penix is our starting quarterback, and we're releasing Kirk Cousins.
What do you know?
Really? So the Matt Ryan era seems to be off to a great start.
That's how you year one, if you're gonna break it apart early.
Okay.
Don't try to survive it. Just break it in pieces.
I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm going, I just left Cleveland. No. And now they're acting like Cleveland.
I know. It's crazy.
The quarterback is currently not on the roster. Well, that should be interesting.
Hey, how about the fact that Kirk Cousins is going to be released and Minnesota wants him back?
Well, Minnesota, they should take him back. With J.J. McCarthy, that's a perfect backup for. Problem is he's going to make more money probably than Sam Darnold, guaranteed.
But guess what? I don't think they're going to get Kirk Cousins to be J.J. McCarthy's backup. I think it's going to be the exact opposite.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's a job saver because they're looking at stuff, and I think McCarthy was the decision that they're regretting, and they're going to figure out a way to get somebody in there.
Well, they already blew out the GM.
Yeah,
and they're not going to blow out KOC. They're not going to. Kevin O'Connell. You talk about the definition of somebody who'd be unemployed for about 40 seconds.
Right. He's the guy.
If Minnesota got rid of Kevin O'Connell,
yeah,
the teams would just line up. So how much you want? Here's a blank check. Right in it. Go ahead. There you go.
No doubt. Quarterback maker. He's all the stuff that you would want out of him. So, and again, if he can't get McCarthy right, who can?
Right. That's a very, very good point. And with that point, we end episode 25 of the 941 Sports Zone. Back with you again. We're usually live on Mondays. Again, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on X, Instagram. Like us, follow us. We'd love to hear from you. We got a chat room open. If you want to come in and chat with us, you can. So for John, now free on Sundays, Masoni. Although
free on Sundays.
Golf is always final round Sunday. So are you really free? And usually, don't you usually have a tea time on Sundays too?
I do. And I guess they say you should have put Sunday afternoon, but my name would have been off the side.
All right. So for John, free on Sundays, Masoni, I'm Spitz. Till next week. So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.